Guys, in this video I wanted to talk a little bit more about how to program push accessories for powerlifting, since I've been mentoring some people with for like powerlifting coaching, and something that's been really chronically coming up is like, how do we actually program in accessories? And I think that it looks different for each lift. I think that bench press is probably like the most complex. So I'm just going to walk you through like my thought process as far as like what I'm doing. If I'm to basically do like a typical 3 day a week bench press program that I think that most people would respond decently well to as a good starting spot. So let's say we have day one. This is going to be our primary bench day. So comp bench. Let's just say we're doing some singles, and let's do like a 3x3 afterwards, and we'll do that RPE 7 just to start off with the block. And then usually, if I'm going to be taking off weight, so I want to keep RPE, but I don't want to have the RPE go above the top set RPE. So, and for about every rep that we go down, it's about um, a 3% reduction in what we can actually do percentage wise. And then usually there's going to be about, on bench press, like about 1 to 2% fatigue per set. Let's say the person fatigues about 1%, so that the brings up to 3 plus 3 plus 2, or plus, I guess, plus 3 equals about 9% load. So that's basically why the downset would be for the main bench day. Let's say for the secondary bench day, oh, holy crap. Let's say that we're doing some higher volume benching, so let's do like 1x6 and 2x, or let's do basically a 3x6, and I'm basically going to give the client here instructions to sort of float around the RPE here, basically keep that RPE 6, and say adjust the weight set as they need to. But basically a straight set here. I find bench generally does need more straight sets as opposed to like downset approaches, especially on like 2 days per week. Needs to be a little higher in intensity. Then usually let's have this tertiary day be like some sort of variation. So let's have this be like let's have this be say a 3 count eccentric. A 3 count eccentric comp bench. Let's just say that we're going to do 3 ascending sets here for sets of 3. And let's say we're going to go to RPE 4, 5 RPE, and then 6 RPE. So this is basically going to be like the bare bones bench press program, if I can get the 3 day bench program. Now let's say we're going to add on accessories for pecs, for triceps, and for side delts. So this is going to be something that's going to largely depend upon range of motion and ability to recover. I'm going to give some caveats here, but let's say that I'm going to probably want to avoid some redundancy in programming. So I don't want to have a ton of extra flat pressing in my program because the bench is already a lot of flat pressing, and I don't want to have overuse injuries. That's already something that a lot of powerlifters run into when we're talking about doing lots of repetitive motions like squat, bench, and deadlift. So let's say that right here on the primary bench day, we're going to incline dumbbell press. Let's say that on this secondary day too, I'm going to basically put in a cable fly. And then on this day, let's say that we're going to put in something else that's going to be probably a little bit less muscle damage, just because this is going to be the tertiary bench day. This is going to be going into the primary bench day, so we want to avoid just a massive stretch on the pec. So maybe we're doing like something like a partial range of motion pressing pattern, where basically we're going down to like maybe like a elbows to parallel dip or something like that. Now, as far as how much volume we do per session, this is where I'm going to basically give like a range, but it would depend on a couple things. So the main thing is going to be like range of motion. So like basically longer range of motion pressers like myself probably only need to do like 1 to 2 sets, or like basically like 1 set. Whereas if you have more of an efficient bench press, you can probably need to have a little bit more volume. But usually we're going to do 1 to 2 sets here. Heel flies I put usually a little higher because they're single joint. Same thing with the this is about good for the elbows to parallel dip. And as far as accessory intensity for the pecs, usually I'm going to keep this around an RPE 7 to 8, just because again I don't want too much fatigue here. Like we could go higher technically, but what the research shows that as long as you're going to about 3 reps in reserve, you're getting most, if not all, the benefits of the set. And because we're trying to string together several sessions, and not just have like one best session. Or to promote hypertrophy, we have to think long term about stringing together sessions that we can recover from. That's why I'm basically choosing RP7 to 8 for the pec accessories. Now let's talk about triceps accessories. So I think that this is going to be, there's going to be a little bit more wiggle room here. Usually I find that, so if we're going, I guess going back to pecs, usually I'm going to be programming in anywhere between 2 to 6 accessories for weekly sets. It's going to depend on lots of different things like frequency, volume, they can actually like recover from because based off of range of motion, how strong that they are, etc. That's essentially what I'm going to be within the range of accessories, though. I would say the average for most of my clients is going to be about 2 to 4 sets. So I would maybe start off closer to like just 2 sets a week, see how you're recovering, see how you're able to progress with your muscle and strength, and then adjust accordingly. Now, as far as triceps go, this is one of those times when I'm going to probably say that my average weekly sets I do for my clients to be about 4 to 8. The reason being that bench press typically does not train the triceps as heavily until you get to be like really close to failure. And so this is why I think that's important to train triceps to get a little bit closer to failure. So if I'm doing something like this, again, I'm probably gonna put more of the lengthened, accessories like a skull crusher. Let's say we're doing like a machine dip here. Spell a machine dip right here. And then we're going to put in a just tricep push down. Again, shorter range of motion or much lengthened, so there's going to be less muscle damage, less time to recover here. Now, how many sets are we going to be really doing here? I would say that again, it's going to be in between like 1 to 3 of sets per day, and the RP is going to be between RPE 8 to 10 is what I usually would put these at. As far as what we are doing for triceps. And again, like there's a big range here is because it just depends how you can recover from. Everybody has different volume needs and volume tolerances. You just have to go off of how you are recovering. In all these scenarios, like if you were to like try this on your own, I would always start at the lower end, assess like recovery, how well you're able to add weight, and then adjust accordingly. If you need to add a set or something like that, or add volume, I would literally only add like 1 set at a time. I know it doesn't sound like that much, but like if you're doing 10 sets a week, that's a 10% increase in volume, and that will do something. As far as like exercise selection, we don't have probably some exercises are biasing with the long end of the tricep, but usually if I'm programming in triceps for somebody, there's at least going to be like some sort of like a skull crusher, an overhead tricep extension, and a push down. And then some people will respond well to like machine dips or weighted dips. I might put that in, but this is a general guideline. Now, as far as side delts, these don't have to play like a large role, but like again, like general overall bit more muscle mass, and it was going to the shoulder is going to provide some more stability, potentially some more injury resilience. Now, as far as again, how many sets of side delts are we going to do? Probably around the same thing as triceps. So like somewhere between 4 to 8 sets per week, and that's essentially going to help control systemic fatigue and then local fatigue at the shoulder girdle, not cause so much excessive shoulder strain with all the pressing that we're doing, squatting or that we're doing, etc. That places stress on the shoulder girdle. So usually we're going to put in, it's like double lat raises, 1 to 3 by 10 to 15. Again, RP 8 to 10. No need to worry about that. Let's say we're going to do right here. We're going to do again a similar thing on all these days. Do a cable upright row. And we'll do a let's say cable ladder raise. This is essentially what basically like what I would do as far as programming and accessories for a push program for powerlifting. And you can basically just customize this to what you need as far as what you need to grow. Again, we want to make sure that we're not driving systemic fatigue up so high that's interfering with our ability to progress maximally on the on the bench press. So something you have to just always consider. Something that might happen is that as you have to increase volume as you progress, and you might need more skill practice and maximize that neurological adaptation as you get more advanced. You might need to lower down the accessory work to make room for that. So it's kind of like a ever changing thing. So hopefully that made sense. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments below. If you guys are interested in coaching, I take care of all this for my clients, help them get strong and aesthetic. And look. So that is the video. If you guys liked it, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys have any questions, also ask me. But yeah, if you guys are interested in coaching, that's what I do for all my clients. I take care of basically all their training, diet, etc., to basically put them on autopilot so they can really get to their goal physique and strength levels. So my whole goal is to get all my clients, to lift like bodybuilders and look like powerlifters. And both those things go hand in hand as far as, getting stronger builds more muscle. Building more muscle makes you stronger. If you're leaner, you look better. You're going to generally perform better. And really just kind of figuring out what's that lowest body fat that you can actually hang out at and still feel normal, have good sleep and energy and sex drive and all that stuff. So that my coaching program is designed to get you there and get you to your dream results. Over 200 people. I'd love for you to be the next one. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, click the link down below to apply for coaching, or just DM me ready on Instagram. Talk to you guys in the next one.